Okay, here is Joe, Braveheart's Jack Ovation, bred by Chris at Broadbuilt Kennels, off of his female Monroe, who had probably less than a 1-inch muzzle. She was from Samson, who I produced off of Tomboy 2 and Blue Ballistic, bred to a Blue Ballistic daughter off of BMJ's sister, Baby Girl. Monroe came to my house because Chris had talked to Troy about breeding to butters. He contacted me and said he was going to come. I figured it was all taken care of, so I said no problem. Chris was coming 9 hours up to my house to stay at my house with his dog while I took him across the river where Butters lives, and I was going to do the breeding. Well, for whatever reason, the dog wasn't pen-hipped, or the dog was too young, or whatever. Troy didn't want to do the breeding. But it wasn't my breeding. I was not collecting a stud fee for breeding to Butters. That was between him and Troy. He left the dog at my house, and Troy said no. So I felt bad that he drove all that way, and I told him I wouldn't breed him to Butters anyway because she breathes so bad. So I said, if you want to breed her to something that gives her a chance to have good breathing dogs, I'd breed her to Jack, because my dog Jack breathed good, despite the lie and bullshit that Troy tries to say. Obviously, he's been on YouTube running. He did the 1 mile challenge at 7.5 years old in 88-degree weather. So Joe breathes typical of bully American Bulldogs. Anybody that is trying to tell you that their bully dog, or that bully American Bulldogs in general breathe good, is full of shit. This dog isn't a good breather, but he is not atypical. Most of the noise that comes from him comes from his nose. He snorts constantly. He can be worked pretty hard, more than a lot of the American Bulldogs can. And when he gets worked, he's intense as shit. He's one of the most intense, hardest frickin' dogs there is. And this doesn't come from me. This comes from PSA decoys that have worked him. I'm trying to get him to snort, because he'll snort. I mean, I got the air conditioner on the car, and it's cool. Jojo! Jojo! There you go. He can snort through his nose. He's got whatever. I don't know what the fuck it is. It didn't come from the pit bull Mr. Johnson put in there. I'm for sure of that. And he is not, like I said, atypical. This is a typical bully type dog. He's 90 some odd pounds, 22.5 inches tall. He does not have a long muzzle. I mean, this muzzle is maybe 2 3/4 inch, and that's in the standard. He's got huge teeth, and he's undershot. He's an excellent fucking dog. I've only bred him 3 times. Once was an accident. I didn't think the female was even in heat, and I pulled her out the minute I saw her swell up, and she had puppies. But they were good puppies. One of that litter is a dog that's been hunted several times and is good on the hog and breathes good and all that stuff. A lot of shit's been talked about Shug, Joe's sister. Physically, Shug is even more impressive than Joe. Her hips are tighter. She has the same intense drive that Joe does. She used to go to the Tom Rose School for training. The head trainer there called me and told me, what the hell, that dog has the drive of a Malinois. he pretty much wrote off the breed of American Bulldog. He'd seen so many shit dogs. That dog had so much prey drive, he loved her. She was limited by her breathing, so she's not worked anymore. But she is an excellent dog, just like Joe. I wouldn't breed Joe to a dog that can't breathe worth a crap, because his mother didn't breathe good. He obviously isn't the best breather, but he's not like what Troy describes. In fact, I'll tell you, he breathes better than BMJ. And I'm not sure if what has been done to Wrecking Bull, but I would bet that Wrecking Bull isn't going to sound any better than Joe running a mile in the heat. Joe. All right.